Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thank you for joining me again. This is the second part of the Shihan interviews, and we have with us Michael Kimeda Sensei, Chris Johnston Sensei, Ryan Slavin Sensei, John Marshall Sensei. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Wish you a happy new year. And
Happy New Year.
We're going to be talking about where are we now as a group with the Yoshinkan, and then where we go from here. So we'll just jump straight into it. And I just got to say that the previous group did a good job. So the challenge is open. Not that we're into competition in Aikido in any way, shape, or form. Okay. All right. Firstly, what makes us distinctive as a group? What distinguishes us from Aikikai, from other martial arts organizations? Spike, you're on my left, so you get to go first.
Well, I'd say the easiest and the most basic thing that we talk about is the Kihondosa. Obviously, our basic movements are something that other arts don't practice. The Kihonwaza, I don't know how distinct that is from other styles of Aikido, but we definitely define them. And our teaching methodology, I actually saw Aikikai practice recently where the teacher didn't say anything. He just did the technique 3 times and then kind of did this. That's not how we go about it. So our methodology in the Kihondosa, I would say.
Okay. Chris?
Yeah, I think, as Mike says, the Kihondosa, Kihonwaza, but really most importantly, I think is our curriculum and our teaching, as he says, teaching methodology. Completely agree. But that curriculum, that step-by-step progression, I think that's a unique thing that we bring to Aikido.
Okay. Ryan?
Only thing I could add is our focus on the center line and the focus power. That's quite unique to Yoshinkan, I think, and a lot of other Tamiki does. But I think Yoshinkan has always made a real focus of teaching that through its kamae and its strength of posture. So that would be my only addition to that.
Joe?
I think for me, it's basically adherence to reho. So the etiquette is really, really important. What all the gentlemen have said is I agree 100%. They're the physical manifestations of Yoshinkan Aikido, but I think what really sets us apart, I guess, from other Aikido groups is the attention to detail as well. So the small things matter, and that leads, if you can't do the small things right, then the big things don't happen either. So yeah, I think it's all encompassing.
So we're all part of a group that uses the name Yoshinkan or Yoshin, yeah? What does Yoshin mean to you? As John touched on that. What does Yoshin mean to you? Chris, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. That's wide open. I think certainly that sense of spirit, that sense of, if I can steal from Kimeda Sensei's teachings, what we do is focused on application. It has to work. If it's not working, he would say, what are you doing? It's just dancing. And I think that's a real major focus of that concept of Yoshin. And getting to that point is what develops Yoshin, that cultivation of spirit. The training that we do, the application of them, the drilling, all of that stuff helps us develop that spirit of focus.
Okay. And Ryan?
Yeah, I'd agree. I think Yoshinkan has a focus of training the person and the physicality as well as the spirit. So you see, I think this is why I think Yoshin or Yoshinkan's name is important, yet Aikido has such a bad reputation because Yoshinkan and Aikido aren't necessarily the same thing around the world. Yoshinkan is very focused around what Chris was just saying, but Aikido is departing from that. And there is a lot of practitioners around the world that aren't necessarily focusing on spirit, hardship and training to the level where they have to go through the uncomfortable elements of martial arts training in order to make the techniques practical, effective, and work in a martial sense. A lot of them are probably doing very little around that and focusing on a very soft technique, which isn't necessarily martial by any sense of my. So I think that the fact of our effectiveness and focus on spirit and physicality is a big part of it.
And John, do you want to add anything to what you said before?
I think all the gentlemen have covered it, but just one thing I will add is it's basically all martial arts. The Budo is it's a lifetime journey, and it's if you better like learning, or else there's no growth. So every day is a new day to learn. We can learn from all different people, but it's also going out there and challenging yourself, and the commitment to lifetime learning. Okay,
Spike, you?
Yeah, I would say there's from the Yoshin methodology, like way we train and way we practice, there's a robustness and a vigor to the way that we do things, as opposed to some of the other styles that really appear soft and flowing and more dance-like, and that's simply not a requirement in how we do things. Although, the muscularity and the tightness that we are often accused of by other people in the Aikido world, I don't think is true. So there's the robustness and the vigor, but it's not a rigidity and it's not a muscular strength that we're relying on as you get better and better. Okay,
cool. I've got a question here, but that's connected to that, but I'll save it for later. We are where we are now. Why do you think we're here? What are the problems? What are the issues with Yoshinkan Aikido, be it organizational, philosophical, or the lack of philosophy, technicalities? Why are we where we are? John, you want to go first again?
Certainly, this could be this is multifaceted. Obviously, I don't pretend to know the ins and outs of running a Japanese organization, but I think therein lies part of the problem. We have a pyramid shape where we have someone at the top dictating everything down, going this way, which is clearly over the last probably 15 years at least, and probably well before then, this has been a problem. So I think we need to bring more of a democratic feeling to it. I know that's not a Japanese feeling and that's not a Budo idea, but I think that's probably one of the main problems. I'll leave it for some others, but that's probably one of the main issues that I see.
Okay. Chris?
Yeah, I'd like to also add that this idea that John's mentioning about the kind of pyramidal managerial, sort of organizational structure, it's predicated on control from the top down. And what's happened over the last 50 plus years is that certainly Yoshinkan Aikido has exploded. It's actually suffering from fabulous growth. And with that growth comes variety and reinterpretation. And that structure that likes top-down control doesn't know what to do with that. So we seem to be in a sort of state of flux, but actually, I think underlying it is a positive growth. That's my perspective on it.
Okay, Ryan?
I've got very little to add. I agree with both of those points. I think our major issue, if we want to call it that, is that we don't have a center anymore. The Hombu doesn't necessarily support everyone in the same way and guide organizations in a harmonious and unified way. So until we have a center that everyone can subscribe to, I think we can't grow to the next level. I think we're going to only stagnate.
Okay, Spike?
Yeah, so the question was problems, technical, political, where you gave two examples there. I'm going to disagree with John in the sense that that we need to be democratic. I don't think martial arts organizations need to be democratic, but they do need to understand and be representative, and they need to listen. And I think that the Yoshinkai, as it is right now, is not actually organized or run by anyone who knows anything about Aikido itself. So it's not representative of Aikido people, and that's a problem. But I don't think the people at the bottom get to tell the leaders how Aikido should be run. The students don't run a dojo, and the participants of an organization don't necessarily get to say what goes on at the top. But in our particular case, or in the case of the Yoshinkai, I don't think the people at the top have anything to do with teaching. So we've got to, it doesn't need to be democratic, but it should be led by people who know what's happening, and it isn't. I think a technical problem is more of like a future thing that Ryan pointed out is where's the Hombu Dojo used to be a feeder of great teachers throughout Japan and also maybe less so internationally, but a lot of good teachers came out of Japan. They came out of the Sensei course because they trained with top teachers for a long time, for intense periods. And I think, Chris Johnston, really good example of someone who didn't do the Sensei course, but is a really excellent teacher and a great Aikidoka. And he had he had a teacher for very many years who could train a lot with. And there's not that many places you can do that. So the potential future problem is that where are the new teachers, the people who are, now Shodan Nidan are getting there, where are they going to train intensely? Where are they going to hone their skills at a level to get them to where we need the future Shihans to be?
All right. Now, people, in just a preface here before I ask the next question, we did this interview a few days ago, but I didn't like it, so we're doing it again. And in that interview, Michael Kimeda went berserk. So
he lost
about
it.
one of the
he lost it pretty much.
He lost it. He lost it. There was a mic drop. He spat the dummy, everything. So, Mike, problems. You didn't repeat that. Come on, I was waiting for you. That's the star of the show.
See, I thought that question came somewhere else. So I mean, and I guess your examples threw me there. You're saying technical and political, but one of the biggest problems that I see is the promotion of people who don't have the abilities to justify the promotion, and promotion of people who don't have the experience. You've got young people that are getting 5th dan, 6th dan. You've got people who are being promoted by senior teachers with the excuse of, well, look at that guy. He wasn't very good and he got promoted. So, well, why can't I do that? And we've got people just promoting others for who knows what reason. I mean, that might be money. That might be because they don't want to turn somebody down. They might risk losing a potential person. I don't know what the reason is, but as an organization, as just a group of people, we have to have certain standards. And the people who are at 8th dan right now, they need to say, mistakes have been made and we're not going to make those same mistakes anymore. So you may have been a 3rd dan for 10 years. I don't care. You simply don't have the skill to be a 4th dan. You may have been a 6th dan for a decade. That's it for you. And that's simply what it has to be. And the top teachers are the ones that are the problems. And those top teachers are all the ones who go on tour. So that'd be you. That would be Mustard Sensei. That would be Paye Sensei, Ando Sensei. These are the people who are handing out certificates. Although Thambu Sensei, I don't think you're guilty of this in the same way. I think your people are probably very accurately. I'm not just blowing smoke here, but there's other people who I don't think are deserved. Okay. And even the teachers who promote them say, I feel pressure. And they need to have the balls to say, I feel pressure, but I'm going to say no, because it's not what the art needs.
He had more fire last time, didn't he, Chris?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
But he made the point. He made the point.
Cut that out. Yeah. Use the original one.
Okay, guys, anyone else want to add about any problems we faced, any issues Okay, let me put this to you. And this is mainly towards Ryan and John. You guys can answer too if you want, okay? Both of you were at Kyoto. It was a success, yes? Well, it was a great success, yeah. Now, would you say that is exemplary, the attendance that was exemplary of the Yoshinkan world? And what issues did you see there that you'd like to fix? Ryan, you go first.
Sure. I think it was exemplary, but it was also a sort of snap back from a long time in the wilderness. So I think people were waiting and holding out for something like that, and I've got to commend John Sensei for that, for stepping into that space. But what did I see there? I saw a vast array of variation in terms of standard, and that comes back to Kimeda Sensei's point. There were 4th dans, 5th dans, 6th dans who weren't necessarily demonstrating a level of skill or a level of understanding conceptually, not just the physical technique, but the conceptual, the principles that underpin them. Wasn't coming through to reflect, in my opinion, the rank in which they held. Now, that might just mean that we have an absence of a criteria for standards that everyone agrees on, and it might just be an opportunity now to see that as a way forward to try and bring the Yoshinkan world closer together to agree on a set of standards. I don't know, but that was the big thing I noticed.
Okay, John.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, I want to focus on the positives, and the positives were far outweighed and outnumbered the negatives. You can nitpick, there's always differences in levels and from country to country. For me, that's not important. What was important is that we could get together as a community, and it was a catalyst. It was a time for change that after all this time, people wanting to do different things and get together, we made it happen. So there's always going to be differences in level. These people aren't doing it like us. For me, that's nitpicking and not important at all. For me, it changed a little bit because originally it was 100 people, and then we got more space, so it kept adding, and so we had to keep adapting and changing to, firstly, the lineup of the teachers. Some people said it was more of an expo. It certainly wasn't a gashoku. With a gashoku, we would need smaller numbers of people and more instructor to student ratio. But all in all, it was a great event, and if not anything, it taught us how best to run the next one, which will be in 2025 in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And we've learned a lot from this one. So
hold on, sorry. I think you're missing the point of the question. We don't get better by saying what we did right. We get better by...
I haven't quite finished it. I'm sorry.
Go.
Like, it's easy to put out the negative, pull out the negativity and say this person taught or this person couldn't teach or shouldn't have been teaching. I heard that a lot. Yes, it was true in some cases, but we learned from that. So further to your question, with level, is that what was that the?
No. Just the general what you saw in Kyoto, and the previous interview said they spoke heaps about Kyoto. So I'm using it as an example of where the Yoshinkan world is.
Yeah, and so I thought at least, people coming together and making a start again was probably the greatest thing. There was a variation of level as well, and I'd like to see, some things changed when it comes to that. But all in all, that's pretty much all I have to say about it.
You guys, from what you heard,
can I jump in on the level? Yes. The level issue. I don't think that, I completely agree with what Spike's pointed out, but I don't think it's something that you can force. It's one of those things that organically will change over time. And frankly, it doesn't impact me. Sensei, if you promote somebody to 7th Dan and I go, nah, I don't think they're a 7th Dan, it makes no difference to me in my training. It's your group. And eventually, once we all start doing these sorts of, grand scale things together, we'll start to see that. And those top teachers who are giving those ranks will start to learn and say, oh, that's what, Mustard gave as a 7th Dan. That's what Paye gave. And you you will find your balance. It can't be forced, I don't think.
Okay, Spike, did you hear anything about Kyoto?
Well, no, you can't force it, but you can challenge it, and you can point out the discrepancies. And I think that, you know, there was a guy who got a third dan in the U.S. and in the Northeast, and he started promoting himself as the senior Yoshinkan teacher in the Northeast of the United States. And he had like 4 weekends in Georgetown. That was his Aikido experience. And so say, what does it matter to me? But these people make videos. They go on YouTube. They go on tours. They start telling people they're senior instructors, and the garbage. And this is the problem with the weakening and the you know, just the general delusion of the art. One of the things that I feel about Aikido is that because of the way we practice, we're allowed to be delusional. No one necessarily will challenge you. And there's a teacher that I saw who starts flying around, and because his ukes are being nice and kind, they fly. And the technique, you just watch, and you like, well, the uke jumped a quarter of a second before you touch. So that's a problem. That's not related to Kyoto.
I agree. I agree. I think standard matters, and if standards drop in another place, it matters if you're wearing the same name.
Okay.
So,
in my defense, I did not say anything about levels or downgrades in Kyoto. I asked about the general tone. You guys took it there. Okay. What I was asking, and I should be more, what I was aiming at was the little things, you know, teaching when Mustard Sensei is teaching when Chida Sensei is teaching, slouching, not standing straight. For me, these are the hallmarks of Yoshinkan Aikido. Your behavior.
Those, without having been there, I'd say those are people that didn't learn the lessons.
There were quite fair few.
Yeah, well, they got to go back to school.
Yeah. So that for me, that's a hallmark of Yoshinkan, and that's where I was taking the conversation. But hey, it's your discussion, so no drama. One thing though about Chris, you said if someone gives someone else a downgrade, it's no skin of your nose, it's okay. But it's incumbent upon us to ask why, if not of that teacher, of ourselves. Otherwise, we never learn, and that's what I seek to do.
Yeah, fair enough. But I don't know that I'm in a position to question you about the ranks you give.
Oh, no, you don't have to question me, but you can ask the question. Otherwise, how do you know what the criteria is?
I mean, I would never ask my own teacher. I would never challenge my own teacher. Why did you give so-and-so a 5th dan?
Questioning the teacher and asking a question are two different things, I think. But okay, let's move on. Okay. All right. Now, does anyone want to add anything about where we are as a group before we move on to the next part of the interview? Where we are, or any issues you see? No?
I would say that from the where we are, which is current and new, and we're in a different place today than we were before Kyoto, because I feel like now we're in a place where people are more open to working together. There's less of a delineation between groups. There's less of a delineation and less of a political mental stop. I mean, from myself, I feel it. I feel like I'm more open to anyone training anywhere and participating more, and I don't think I felt that way previously.
Can I call bullshit on that?
Call it.
Since Kyoto, Mori Sensei is left, Dave Rubens is left, Mustard Sensei is left, Ando Sensei is left.
In the past, when somebody left, there was more of a possibility that when they left, you couldn't or wouldn't train with them anymore. And now, because of Kyoto, we know that that's not the case. And so people who were holding back, maybe because they feared losing connections, no longer fear that. And they say, it's okay, I don't need to be under the Hombu Dojo in Tokyo to maintain my connection with the Yoshinkan world. And so in that case, we're more open.
You should be a politician, right?
Yeah.
Okay, peeps, we're going to move on to the next part, okay? All right. Where to from here? First, a wish list. What would you like to see? Let's say in a perfect world, where would you like to see the Yoshinkan world? And then I take this to the extents.
Yeah, good. Can I jump in?
Yeah.
I mentioned this last time. I'll mention it again. I'd like to see continued, thanks to John for starting this thing, going back to Kyoto, continued and more unity between all of the groups. I think the fact that people have left a particular organization is not really relevant to the point of unity. We can still, as Michael so rightly pointed out, we can still be together, train together, be friends, learn from each other, grow from each other. But that takes effort. That takes organization. That takes planning of events, all of that sort of stuff. So my wish list is that continues.
Cool. Ryan?
Off the back of that, I think in order for that to happen, I think we need the higher Dan to work together and form some sort of body that they can agree on standards that function, I guess, similar. So this is for the groups that aren't necessarily within the Yoshinkan Hombu anymore, which is an increasing number. We're seeing with Kyoto, and we're seeing with Brisbane next year, and then Malaysia the year after. Oh, sorry, Brisbane this year, and then Malaysia next year. That our senior teachers are coming together quite often now, yearly, annually. So it would be great if they could form a similar sort of board or group that directs and governs and guides, because I think.
So you're cutting out, Ryan. Okay.
We lost Ryan.
Spike,
Yeah.
we'll shoot to you, Spike.
Yeah, wish list. Well, we're in this situation that we're in because Hombu Dojo, a political void and just a void. And I think that the Yoshinkan Hombu Dojo has a place if they would take their head out of the sand and try to interact with the world outside of Japan. So that would be nice, although I don't know if they're interested or willing to do that. So great, if they did, that'd be fine. I'd like it. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. So what I would like is for there to be some, I think the cultivation of young teachers and the honing of skills was an important thing. And in Japan, you could do that 6 days a week, and you could do it many classes a day. And there's not that many places where that's a possibility. So a way for people to hone their skills as teachers and hone their skills as practitioners of Yoshinkan Aikido would be a really good thing. I don't know where that exists.
John?
Absolutely, yeah. Just to echo what everyone said, basically getting together as often as we can. I think we're stronger together than apart. What's a little bit concerning with everyone leaving is that we become weaker like that. So at least bringing us together when we can strengthens us. But I agree with what Chris and Ryan have said. We need an organization led by, it doesn't have to come from Japan anymore. I think that ship sailed, as we know, and we've reached out. That's just not a possibility. So I think rather than wait another 15 years, we need to take it upon ourselves and take charge. And the people that it means something to and want to preserve this legacy have to step up and do something. So we can talk all we like, but I think we need to kind of engage in some meaningful dialogue as we are now, but to go somewhere. So
let me preface what I'm going to say next, right? So Chris said no one's going to listen to this interview. And to some extent, it's not important. But what's important for the rank and file is transparency. And that's what I'm hoping to show people. And it's not the Q grades, it's not the Shorans, it's the Sandan Yondans. And we're derelict in our duty if we don't discuss this. And you guys know I have a lot of friends in other martial arts, other Aikido schools. They're watching because everyone else does this on the quiet. We're throwing it out there. We're not begging anyone. We're throwing it out there. We're discussing it. So what we're discussing has relevance to the entire Budo community. And, we're open about this, right? My answer about the thing about the air stance and above, I'll give you my answer when I talk to the other guys, right? But unity was a big thing when I put that questionnaire on the Yoshinkan Aikido Fellowship. People want that unity. How do we get there? Is it possible? How do we get there?
I would say that we begin with a group of governing senior teachers who can agree on a set of standards which we can hold, everyone can subscribe to, and that we continue on this process that John's put us on. We're bringing people together as often as possible.
Okay, and anyone else? How any ideas how to get there? To get to this unity where we're not all going to get back together and sing Kumbaya and stand around a campfire, right? But some sense, some resemblance of being a family. Don't use my family as an example, please, but being a family, yeah.
Sorry, Spike. One roadblock I see to that, with all due respect, Sensei, is people of your level. Because frankly, why would you give up what you have to be part of a separate group? Why would Mustard Sensei give up what he's building? Why would Paye Sensei give up what he's got? Why would any of you give up your thing to help create a group? And as much as we may want it, it'll be people at your level that might be the biggest roadblock.
Okay. Again, my answer will come in the next interview. Spike?
Yeah, I agree with what Chris is saying, that the issue is that, we need people, so we do have a sense of community now in that we're building it. Other organizations, when they fall apart, like there's karate organizations, they keep falling apart and coming back, but they, Shotokan, how many Shotokans are there? So Yoshinkan is, we're at a point where you can leave from the umbrella organization in Japan, but you don't have to change. You don't have to leave. And I think that's where we're there now. So does everything else have to, do we need a coalition, a new sort of Yoshinkan group that's on a big umbrella? I don't know that that's absolutely necessary. Why can't there be, a bunch of Yoshinkan groups and a bunch of Shihano that are in their own silos, but we don't silo ourselves in practice. We don't silo ourselves in how we interact with each other. Maybe politically, maybe, in terms of rank, there's a distinction or there's a delineation. But if we overcome the quick promotion for whatever reason that is, or the assigning of promotion that's simply not deserved, I don't think we have other issues. I don't know that we need a new umbrella organization.
Okay, let me throw something else at you guys, right? Sorry, Ryan, go.
Every professional organization has a set of standards which every individual group subscribes to in order to move forward. If we want to move forward, we have to have a set of agreed standards, I think, and otherwise, how are we actually coming together as a group, as one thing? We're just going to continue to be a disparate set of pieces that gets together and enjoys each other company, but doesn't necessarily move forward as an entity, as an organization.
Okay.
Professional organizations don't typically have, 9 levels within them with very specific. Professional organization, you're talking medical, either you're a doctor or you're not. You're talking accounting, you're certified or you're not.
If you're a teacher, if you're an accountant, you subscribe to a board that has a set of standards in which you have to satisfy, and you understand they're clear. Where this school at this place and that school at that place, they may do things differently within their own schools and administrations, but they all agree that this is the set of standards in which they have to subscribe to in order to be part of an organisation, which is the education organisation or the medical organisation, etc. Right?
Okay, guys, I will throw that to the other 8th dance. Here's a question for you. Each and every one of you said that one of the things that made us distinctive was the Kihon Dosa and Kihon Waza. Are we stuck in that? Is that one of our issues now in moving forward? Is that one of our problems, being stuck in the Kihon Dosa and the Kihon Waza? Spike?
I think we're often stuck in the Kihon Waza. I don't think the Kihon Dosa is a problem, but the Kihon Waza, I think, I watched 5th Dan, 6th Dan tests online, and the person who's going for 6th Dan is doing Shomanuchi, Kajo, Saichi, each. Ni, San, Chi. I'm like, what are you demonstrating? You're crap. And we could see it step by step. We need to evolve out of that at a certain level, and that level is got to come. And so we need to realize that there's a teaching methodology which helps us to be able to do a strong technique. But at some point in time, you got to do the strong technique, and you don't do a strong technique by counting each ni, san, shi. You got to just do it. And I don't think that many people practice doing the technique that way. They're stuck.
I'm gonna leave John to last on this one. Ryan?
I agree. I think you can't lose the Kihon Waza. You can't lose the Kihon Dosa. They are what makes us. They are what makes us unique. But as Kimeda Sensei was saying, you have to understand the principles that underpin those in order to then move beyond them and apply them in a formless way. And that comes at a certain level, I believe.
Okay. Chris?
Yeah, so we, the Kihon Dosa, Kihon Waza, we use those to develop our strong center. Many people, and I would say probably the majority, never get past that into a kind of idea of flowing of Aikido. Other styles, they begin with the flowing and never get through that to a center. They lack the center completely. And it's obvious when you see them performing Aikido. But the reverse is true of many Yoshinkan practitioners, is that they're too stuck in that, rigidity, and they lose the ability to flow. You see it in the top teachers, and it's beautiful to see it when they can combine that sense of center plus the flowing. And I think that's something that we should all aspire to. But I agree, that's quite lacking in many, many people.
John?
Chris stole my answer. That's exactly what I was going to say. Ryan and Spike have both touched on it. It's the rigidity and the discipline of the Kihon Dosa and the Kihon Waza that I guess a lot of people are stuck in. Sorry,
John, one second. Let me paraphrase change the question to you. The number of techniques taught, the kind of techniques taught, are we limited by that? You, with your experience with Washizu Sensei, what do you think?
Well, absolutely. I think Aikido is a concept, and some people think that only, like, for example, Sutemi Waza is not Aikido. And for me, it's the epitome of Aikido, because it's no matter if you're here or you're here, it's about kuzushi, it's about breaking balance, and that's what Aikido is. That's what all martial arts are. I would like to, I think there's endless variations, applications that I'd like to see done and shown, but then within the context of Yoshinkan Aikido. So I think sometimes it can go a little bit left field sometimes. People trying to do things that maybe, they try and liken the Kihon Dosa and then pick up a weapon, for example. For me, I don't really see that. I think that, we can move out of the Kihon Dosa, but for sure, you definitely need a strong grounding and foundation.
Cool. All right, gentlemen, we're going to wrap up here. Does anyone want to add anything or say anything?
I'll just say on a positive note that I'm really hopeful for the future. I can't say it enough. Kudos to John for starting this, renaissance of friendship, if you will. where we've sort of been given permission to talk and train with each other again, and I'm super excited about it. I'm really looking forward to the future.
Anyone else? No? Okay, gentlemen. Sorry, go, John, please.
Sorry. I just wanted to say thank you to obviously Joe Sensei and Spike Sensei and Chris and Ryan and everyone out there. The idea of the fellowship has grown and grown, and it's because of everyone that it's made it work. So it's not just me, it's not just one person. What I do like to say though is that if you do like the idea of the fellowship and you want to use the logo, please communicate with us. It's not trademarked or copyright, but you don't just whack it on without asking people, because I think, we talk about martial arts being about respect and honor. I think we should see that in actions as well. So I really look forward to seeing where we can take it and being a small part of it. So thank you.
Yes.
All right, gentlemen. For my part, why are you guys waiting for the S dance to get together? When I started this group between the four of you and the other four, there was immediate jovial banter between the 8 of you. Fantastic. Why do you need us old bastards, grouchy old bastards?
I didn't want to point out the obvious, Sensei. It's
but you guys are doing it, and all kudos to you. And again, thank you to everyone who did Kyoto. That was great. Always room for improvement in everything. And hopefully, when I talk to Yes Dance, we'll get some more perspective on this. Thank you, gentlemen. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.